airline, January, average, etc., etc. So we need to group by, we take flights, we say group by name and month, and then use the summarize function. We create a new variable called average arrival delay. It's equal to the mean, which is the average, and it's going to be the average of arrival delay. Ignore missing values, and boom shakalaka. Here we've got our new data set that we can really use. This is now we're getting closer and closer to what we can actually use to do our data visualization with a variable called arrivals delay. And each of these is an average mapping out against an airline and a month. And finally, I want to create a variable that tells R when we do the visualization, what color to make the bars of, in our visualization. In other words, we said if there's an actual delay, if on average an airline was delayed in a particular month, to make that bar red. And if on average the delay was negative, in other words, they arrived ahead of schedule, make it green. And so we've created we've just used mutate delay color. So we're adding this as an extra variable in our data set, because when we use GGplot, we're going to reference this, right? We're creating a variable called delay color. We're using if else, and basically how that works is this. Okay, we take average arrival delay. If it's less than 0, in other words, if they arrive early, right, then make it dark green, comma, else make it dark red. Right, easy peasy lemon squeezy. And you can see that's exactly what it's done in the output over here for each of these values. If it was above 0, it's dark red. And if it's below 0, it's dark green. And that's how our data visualization is going to look. I will just tell you that there's a trick that we need to use when we use GGplot. GGplot won't automatically recognize these words dark green and dark red. There's something that we're going to need to do to make that happen, but we'll get to that in just a minute. I'm working off the assumption that you've got a basic understanding of how to use GGplot. If you haven't, then I'd suggest that you watch a separate video about GGplot. I'm not going to be able to go through all of the basics of plotting with you in this video. I'm going to get into some of the more sort of complicated stuff, the tricks that you need to know if you kind of familiar with GGplot but can't quite get the nuances right. So we're going to look at that in this video. Okay, if you're seeing GGplot for the first time, maybe just watch along and you might pick up on how we do things. But we start off with our data object, data delayed monthly that we created a little bit earlier. Pipe that into GGplot. We don't have to say delayed monthly as a data set because it's the first argument. Fine. Aesthetics, we're mapping the x-axis against month. There it is at the bottom there, and the y-axis against average arrival delay over there. Not a very pretty, and then we're saying, let's make that a GM columns, not a very pretty graph, not to worry. The first thing that we do is we're adding in facet wrap by name, right? And we've got a names variable, and here we've got